Hey, it's Squibbles the Wonder Turtle from All Hail Internal Combustion. Got the master, the slave, and my supply line in for the S10 because the slave cylinder went out on it. So it's time to do this job so I can start driving the truck again. Pulled everything out of its bag so I can verify it. I'm going to go ahead and pull everything out of the S10 and take it apart. Unfortunately, I don't have a garage to use because we're still building super shelves. So I'm going to be doing this outside. And hopefully I can get a lot of it done today because it is supposed to get cold and crappy again in Pennsylvania. Yay! Winter will never release its death hold on us. Alright, so we are out here at the truck. Now before I start the job, let me run through and identify some parts in case you're not familiar. This right here is the reservoir for the clutch master cylinder. All this does is hold fluid so that you don't end up with air in your system. This way you're keeping fluid above the line of the clutch master cylinder. And there's a rubber hose that snakes its way down. And it's kind of hard to see. But back down in there is a rusty thing. Right here is the clutch master cylinder. It bolts into the firewall, and there's a rod that goes in that hooks directly to the clutch pedal. This little white fitting on top here is where your reservoir line comes to feed the clutch master cylinder its brake fluid. And then off of the clutch master cylinder, if you can see it down there, there's a line that comes off of it. There's a line right there that comes off of it that goes down and attaches to, it turns from hard line to a rubber line, then to a hard line again, and that goes into the side of the transmission where the slave cylinder lives. I can show you that better from underneath of the truck. But what I'm going to be doing up here up top is I'm going to be pulling my reservoir off and cutting this hose because I'm going to replace the hose because it's in pretty nasty looking condition, and this way I can clean the reservoir out. Then once I get down here to the clutch master cylinder, I'll be cutting the rubber line that goes down to the slave and taking that out as one piece. Then I'll get underneath of the truck and pull the slave cylinder out. Okay, so this is the reservoir out of the clutch system. I went ahead and took this old line and just cut it off so it was out of the way and I didn't have to fight with it. But as you can see, this line is pretty well screwed. And why put a line back in there that's going to leak eventually? I'm just going to replace it now. And I went ahead, when I took the line off, I put a slit in it and took it off because I didn't want to snap this plastic off. This plastic is from 91 and it's very brittle, so I'd rather not break this because I can reuse it. I'm going to take the cap off of it and clean inside of it real good with some brake cleaner and get this all cleaned up, ready to go, and get it ready to have a new piece of hose put onto it. And this will be the fitting that the hose attaches to. I also need to see if I have any hose in stock, which I probably don't, which just means a trip to the store. And as you can see by the black mark on this box here, the hose is starting to come apart inside from just being exposed to brake fluid for all these years. This is probably the original hose. So yeah, brake fluid will pretty much eat through anything. Alright, so next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go out to the truck and pull the master cylinder for the clutch out of it. Alright, so here we are underneath of the dashboard, and this bolt right here, that nut right there, that holds the clutch master cylinder to the firewall. So I've already got under there and broke those loose. And then if we look up here, there's this rod that comes out that goes into our clutch pedal, and you need to depress your clutch and pop that clip off of there, and then your arm will come off. because on this particular clutch and master cylinder, let me see if I can do this with the camera in my hand. Here, get that off, pop the arm off, and there's a little plastic bushing in here that will also come on the new clutch master cylinder. It already has one, but if you can save your old one, save it, toss it in a box someplace, because you never know, you might need it. Or if you end up breaking your new one, you might need it. But once I take those two nuts off of there, I can go ahead and cut the line going down to the slave cylinder and pull this assembly out, and then I can match it up with my new one to make sure I got the right part. Okay, so here's the old clutch master cylinder on the bottom, the new one on the top. I'm just comparing them to make sure they're the same thing, and they are. I went ahead and took the bushing out of the old one and put it into the new one, just because I like the way that bushing looks compared to these little ratty ones they throw in with the kits now. I've seen these kind of break and fall apart, and then you end up with a real sloppy pedal. The old one's solid all the way around. Trust that one a lot more. So now that these two match, I can get underneath of the truck and take the actual slave cylinder off of it. But I don't know if you can see or not, but it's raining again. So that's going to put a hamper on things, because I'm not laying in the rain. I'm not that type of guy. Thanks. Be back. Now, one of the things I wanted to point out is one of the reasons that a lot of parts are inexpensive or whatever is the hardware they send you with them. This nut right here on the right hand side is the cheapy nut that came with it. The one on the left is the factory flange lock nut that was on the original clutch master cylinder. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and use these, because these will lock to the bolt and not want to come loose. These I would have to use a flat washer and Loctite, because I mean, just backing out of a parking spot, you press on your clutch pedal twice, and then you go driving on down the road and you use it pretty much every time you shift gears. So that's going to work its way loose if you don't put Loctite. And the washer is just to keep these little baby nuts from eating into the sheet metal. So think about that when you're swapping parts. Try and use your old hardware, because the factory made it way better than the aftermarket does. Now this thing lives in a very strange spot under the hood. It's next to the steering column. It's below the brake master cylinder and the booster. So what I want to do is I want to get a lot of this work done on this that I'm not really going to be able to reach easier. This is my hose going to my reservoir, so I went ahead and I pre-installed that. This is the hose that goes down to the slave cylinder, and it's fine threaded and in a weird spot, so I went ahead and reinstalled that, but I did leave it loose so it'll swivel until I get it where it needs to be. Then I can get in there and tighten that up with a wrench. But where it's at right now, getting this fitting on there might be a bit of a pain in the butt, but if you take a look, there's an opening behind the wheel that I can get in there to get a wrench on this to tighten it. So look around for options, and you might not notice that, because like normally on these S10s there's a rubber I guess dust cover that follows along the inside, but those are long gone on this truck. So if you got dust covers and you can move them out of the way to make it easier for you to work, do that. So I'm going to slide this thing in here and get it put on and bolted on from the inside. Okay, so I got it back through, bolted up, put the clip back in there. So now I can go ahead and put my lower dash back together. I really didn't need to take the lower dash out of it, but it did make it a little easier to see where that clip was. So I'm going to go ahead and pop this back together. Next thing I need to do is get underneath of the truck and deal with the slave cylinder. This is the slave cylinder off the truck. I already pulled it out of there. And let As you can see down in the end or not, but that's pretty mungy, and what that is, that's all brake fluid that seeped past the seal, and this is obviously where I was losing fluid at, and you don't really know anything about this until you take it apart or you lose your pedal. But this one, it probably could be rebuilt, but I'm pretty sure it's past the point of no return because I got a new one, so that's the point of no return. But yeah, it's hemorrhaging quite a bit of fluid. It's probably the original one. Looks factory. But this is the replacement one. It's got a bleeder on it. That's where my line's going to hook. This is a piece that goes in and hits the clutch fork to disengage and engage the clutch. This one's just going to slide in there and bolt in. But before I bolt it in, I'm going to put some fluid in the system and bleed it out. It's got a bleeder here on the top, and it's a little easier to do this when it's not actually in position, because you can work some of the air out this way rather than just depending on the clutch fork only moving like an inch to get air out. So I'm going to go ahead and pop this in the truck and show you where it goes and all that happy crap. I've had cars fall on me before. It's not really a fun experience. Got the jack underneath the front of it, got a piece of 6x6 underneath of it. The inoperative parking brake is set, so I feel totally safe getting underneath of this thing. And I do have life insurance, so that's always a bonus. Make sure your family's taken care of if you're going to do stupid shit. Let's get under there. Okay, so this is where the happy slave cylinder lives. It goes on these two bolts here, and this is my line that I fished down from up top. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to clean that area up, run my finger in there, get up any extra brake fluid that's sloshing around. I mean, it's not going to get pulled in the clutch and contaminate the clutch. It pretty much just goes down to the bottom and drips out the bottom. You see a lot of oil and crap on my transmission. That's from the back of the intake manifold leaking like a sieve. So I'll probably never deal with that till I switch intake manifolds. But let me go ahead and get this thing hooked to the line. I'm not going to put it in the transmission yet because I want to bleed it first. So be right back after I get it hooked in. Before I tightened up this line, I went ahead and I put the slave into place on the transmission. That way I was making sure I was getting this bend right. And I went ahead and tightened it up, so now I can slip it back out and start the bleeding process, which I'll show you in a minute. Let me get out from under here. Okay, so hopefully I can explain this right. Normally when you go to bleed out your clutch, you got your slave cylinder, there's a rod that comes out on it and it pushes against the lever that's inside your clutch to engage and disengage it, the clutch fork. So it pushes against the clutch fork. If you look inside the clutch when you actually do this, it only moves maybe an inch or so to engage and disengage the clutch. This is a pretty long cylinder. The cylinder is probably about 4 or 5 inches long. So there's a lot of air that can get trapped in here. If you just rely on using your clutch fork to try and bleed this out, it usually takes forever because you're only getting a little puff of air back through your bleeder. What I did here is I took a steering wheel puller, hooked it onto my slave cylinder, and I turned in the center screw so it touches against the piston that's in here, stopping it from moving completely. Now all I have to do is get somebody in the truck with the reservoir full to slowly press down on the clutch pedal. They'll feel it get firm, and then this will bleed out just like a brake system, because now we've got a positive stop against the piston in here. It won't go nowhere because it's not pushing a little weak clutch fork. It's actually got dead pressure against it. Makes it real easy to get the air out of these systems. And you got to keep jumping up and checking the reservoir, because the reservoirs are really small on these things and you don't want to let air back into the system. So this is how I do these external slave cylinders, and I found a steering wheel puller is great because they'll work on all different sizes. You can use a harmonic balancer puller, or if you got a piece of plate steel around, you can drill some holes and rig something up. But I find this is way better than laying on your back and cussing a whole lot and trying to get it bled out. So I do have all the air out of this system, so I'm going to go ahead and put the slave back into the transmission, and that'll pretty much be a wrap up for this job, and we'll check our fluid and go from there. Don't forget to put your little rubber cap back on the bleeder screw on the slave cylinder. Keeps dirt, water, and everything else out of there, and you might actually stand a chance to get it open if you need to in the future. Now, I wanted to give you a little look inside of here if you're not familiar with it. So in there is the piston that pushes against the rod that pushes against the clutch fork, and you'll see there's a little tang sticking down here. That's a spring clip. That's the only thing that holds this piston in there if it were to come out all the way. If you actually try to bleed this thing out without having something in there pushing against the piston, you can blow this clip out and then your piston's going to come out. So that's why you want to have something pushing against it to keep it in there. And as you see, this is the normal kind of resting position for it, and it's sitting about 1/2 inch inside the bore. When I put this up to the transmission and put it against the clutch fork, it's going to push it in probably another 1/2 inch, and that'll be where it rests at all the time. So that's why I suggested the steering wheel puller or something else to keep everything together and not have you blow that clip out.